Hey, good afternoon, everybody.
Umbrella.
October 1, we'll kick it off here. We've got a few folks out in our Zoom world. Welcome, welcome. We've got, this is our last joint, correct, Russ? Or do we have one more next month?
We have to look at the calendar because of Indigenous Peoples' Day.
Ah, that's right.
We might have to be combined, but the plan is for the Arts and Nonprofits Committee to have 3 more meetings, October, November, December, where the arts and nonprofits take the lead, so we can plan our sunsetting report to the city council. So we'll have that in October. Whether or not we'll combine both groups for that, we should talk about afterwards.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Because I know there's plenty of work for this group to do separate from that.
Excellent. And Russ mentioned Indigenous Peoples' Day in October. This happens to be September 11th. So I just want to make that notice. We all know what it means to ourselves, to our country, and to our friends and family. Moving ahead, we've got approval of the last minutes. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. All right, all in favor to accept last month's meetings? Hands are ayes. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. ACG is not online today. However, Sean is meeting with them this afternoon at 4, and Sean has an update. So I'll turn it over to Sean.
All right. Very good.
That's very efficient.
Is there anything else you want to do before I get into this? Because this is going to require some conversation, I think.
I think actually,
You want to do with the
I'd actually rather kick it off with this because this is the meat that people want, and then we'll catch up and jam the rest in the end.
Oh, that's the name.
So I have a meeting at 4 o'clock today with ACG, my check-in. So if any questions that come out of today's meeting, I will capture and get you answers if I don't have them. I did get a written update from them last week, and so we had 730 responses to our online survey. That's a good number. I know it doesn't compete with the library, but it's a good number.
And Sean, I want to clarify, I believe it was 119 21 years ago, right? 119 responses. So 730 is great.
I think it was 81.
81. We have 81.
Yeah.
We had a small number before, and now we have 730. So
Yeah.
nicely done.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and as a reminder, so we had the online survey. Now we're moving into the focus groups, the virtual focus groups, and the goal is to have 5 of those with 8 to 10 people each. I'll give you a number. There were 120 folks who filled out the online survey who said they'd be interested in virtual focus groups or focus groups in general. So there's a pool of folks to pull from. We had a little bit of, we didn't get great signups in the different categories. We were targeting business leaders, civic leaders, young professionals, residents. I don't know if I think there was a 5th one, but
Artists.
okay. So at the end of the day, we have what we have. ACG has been sending out doodle polls with 3 different dates to see how many folks can make it. This is a big commitment. It's a 90-minute virtual focus group. So it's a big commitment for folks to make. And we'll see what we get. The goal is to have those done by the end of September, maybe even September 25th or thereabouts, have them completed. Now there's two buckets of analysis. Right now they're analyzing the online survey, right? That if you recall from the last meeting, they send it over to their research department who does the data and the crunching, and we'll come back to our team to say, here's what's coming out of that. There'll be another bucket from the virtual focus groups that'll go and be analyzed, right? And all those 2 sets of analysis will inform the on the ground, the live focus groups, which are currently scheduled to be the week of October 16th. That's when ACG will be here, Nagam and Haran. And we have the opportunity, if we have local facilitators, to basically have as many focus groups as we have capacity for.
Are they gonna-
Update on that? Yeah.
Okay. I have, call it 1.5. I have one person said yes from Port to the Listeners Group,
Mhm.
and one said yes for the second week in October, but not the first week. So basically I have 1.5. Call it 2, however you want to do it. I've got 2 responses so far.
Okay,
So my thinking is that when we have the training
Yep.
date scheduled.
Yep.
I'm gonna resend the solicitation. With a stronger cover letter saying how important it is, blah, blah, blah. And see if I can get 1 or 2 more.
okay. So the take, good.
Do you want the names of the 2?
No, the takeaway for me is to get the training dates back out
Yeah.
to you.
So are they gonna supplement that with on the ground ACG facilitators here in town? Or are we just trying
Yeah, they are.
they are,
They'll be here the week of October 16th.
the week of the 16th? Okay, well then David will be available then. He said he's not available the first week in October.
Okay,
He is so we're really looking at the second and third week in October, not the first and second.
I think
Well, I
technically
think-
the third week, right?
we're just talking 1 week,
The week of the 16th.
the week of the 16th.
The week of the 16th for the second round of focus groups.
Live in-person
Yeah,
focus groups,
yeah.
ACG coming here October 16, 17, 18.
Be an announcer.
Oh, 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, so that looks like the third full week of October is what it is on the calendar. So again, we'll confirm, we'll confirm how long they're gonna be here and how many, we can schedule as many focus groups as we can rally.
Yeah, and how many ACG people are coming?
2,
2, okay.
yeah, so it's 2 plus whoever you lock in.
Could you ask them, Sean, they originally talked about their president coming down from Maine because that's where he's based. That would have been the 3rd. It sounds like it might have dropped out, but just so that we know
Okay.
one way or the other.
And if
Hey.
they're coming the 16th, the city council's meeting that night, it might be nice to have them just come to the city council just to say a few words maybe about,
Okay,
So
Right.
requested the city councilor? Excellent.
yeah, so I just, I think
can
it,
support
it
that.
keeps it in the public eye because there are a lot more people in the public who watch
60
those meetings and so just, and it may be somebody from this committee bringing them to the city council to introduce them, just
sure. Maybe provide a status update. Here's where we are in this process.
Right.
Okay,
I just think that the more we can do to get the word out that this is all.
And after the warm reception from last week, I think that's a good idea. I mean, just if we're up there for a minute and a half and people know, boom.
Yep.
Yep. The 16th, I think.
Council meeting is the 16th or 17th? 16th, okay, 7 PM.
Can I just ask, are we concerned that we're gonna lose a night because of that?
Yes.
How many days are they here?
Right, so if they're here the 16th, 17th, and 18th, we've now kind of said that Monday night is out.
I think we could probably do a compromise. It's a good point. First, we need to know what their schedule is. Second, if there's any availability for one of them to break away for 15 minutes or an hour and get them back,
Right.
No, that's not what I'm not suggesting. I'm suggesting that they come the 17th, 18th, and 19th, so we don't lose a day because we want to have them in front of the council. Or are you thinking they'll be doing daytime on, I don't want to compete with the city council is what I'm saying. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think you hold one of these while the city council's meeting. So I'm saying that,
speculate, Barbara, like I said, why don't we get their schedule? I think your point is excellent, but we are just speculating at the moment
Yeah.
until we have their schedule.
oh, okay, I thought the 16th was a sure thing.
No, we don't know when they're doing, what they're doing, exactly when. So we'll have an
Gotcha.
schedule and then we can integrate with your points.
right. And based on this conversation, I can talk today with them about, when they plan to arrive, when they plan to leave. In their experience, how many focus groups will they be able to handle? And then it seems to me we're gonna build out that week, whatever it is, 3 days, 4 days, X number of nights, trying to give groups options on when to go through or when to participate.
Yeah, in terms
Okay.
of hours to accommodate working schedules and all that. And then the other thing that we've discussed is just looking at if we have any soft spots in any of those subgroup categories. So let's say hypothetically, you know, we only have five artists signed up and we need some more to kind of fill those seats. Sean's gonna let us know that as well, so we can be reaching out to contacts as
Cool.
needed. Okay.
Okay, I'm just thinking that the Portsmouth Listens facilitators are still available on the 19th and the 20th,
Okay.
right? So if we use if we have the 4 people, 2 of the facilitators are leaving on the Wednesday.
Or what? I'm sorry, I missed the last part. Or,
Because 2 of the facilitators are local,
yes,
then they're not limited to the Monday, Tuesday,
I
Wednesday.
see what you're saying.
So, you know, I mean, Barbara's concern is valid, but because they can do 'em on Thursday and Friday,
Mhm.
then maybe that alleviates the problem.
Yeah, so we may have 4, we may have 5 people to lead these groups. We have between 3 and 5 days to do it. We have, right? I know we want to mix up the schedule to give people choices and options to be able to participate.
Well, I would say, you know, at least for the artist group, if you don't have enough artists participating in the focus groups, I mean, we can recruit them specifically. You know, going to
Yeah.
certain people. I mean, I can think of names of people that I'd want to be there.
I don't imagine it's going to be a problem recruiting people. That's me.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that if they filled in the survey but didn't say, I want to be on the
Sure.
focus group.
Right.
We got another crack at it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, I was just gonna summarize our points real quick and then let Sean get back in action. I think we had 2 valid points. Counselor Cook mentioned possibly having some visibility at the city council meeting. Great point. Barbara didn't want it to take away from the schedule. Yes, great point. Sean's gonna get the schedule this afternoon or as we go between now and then. We slipped a little bit into talking about the actual live forums. Will we have enough people? And I think with the group we have here and the community that is Portsmouth, we'll be able to fill that out, but we'll tackle that more once we know who's in those groups, and that'll be coming from ACG at a date later than right now. Go ahead, Sean.
City council.
I
Counselor
just had
Cook.
one more thing. I think somebody local should also look at their focus group lists,
Mhm.
the online ones and the in-person ones. And the reason I say that is that I was invited to participate in a focus group and there were 3 city councilors out of the 4 people in the focus group for an online group. And I was like, well, and I couldn't do one of the dates, but I thought, oh, you got 3 city councilors together, you're gonna get kind of a certain skew there. So I just wasn't sure if anybody's looking at those lists that they have.
And ACG is trying to keep those confidential, so we have not had visibility into those, but also I know we're not supposed to be participating in any of those as committee members. So maybe Sean, could you have line of sight at least at the very minimum, just to put a quick glance to see?
Yeah,
who's-
I'll find out who, I mean,
Yeah.
it was challenging the last couple of weeks. I mean, we were barraging Portsmouth with requests and we got single digits. That's a little surprising to me, but be that as it may, once they're going through the process of inviting a doodle poll to get people lined up, they're giving them 3 choices. Once they have a final count, we'll know how many people have participated and we'll know how diverse it is, I guess, to a certain degree. But again, it's only one step in the process, right? We still have our things that are going on. So back to the.
Um,
Can
I'm
I ask
sorry,
a quick
can I-
question? Oh, go ahead, Ellen.
No,
Oh.
Russ, you were there first.
Well, I was just following up on Jeff's idea that a lot of us are networked into the local artist scene and various other constituent groups without having to reveal who has signed up for what. I recommend asking ACG, is there an effective way for committee members to get the word out to people who we think should be participating in the in-person in particular, but also the virtual sessions over the next couple of weeks, so that we can make sure people who might still be unaware that these are happening have an opportunity to sign up and participate. I don't know what the best path for that is, because I understand the need to keep us separate from what ACG is doing at this point in time and not looking at the lists. But without being blind to that, it's hard for me to tell who to invite. I just invite everyone. I just need a path for them to follow
Yeah.
to sign up.
Well, we could use the publicity, the communications group to put it back in the newspaper that there's still an opportunity to sign up for focus groups, or create some sort of a mechanism where somebody can still jump in through a publicity.
Well, I'd like to do a direct email blast to my list, of,
A second.
so.
Right. So I think. Yeah, I will ask that question.
Okay.
My understanding for me, the way I thought we were working was, we collectively were gonna provide emails to ACG for them to make invitations. If,
Okay.
I will talk to them about some way to allow whoever wants to do an email blast to their list with the emails going back to ACG, and maybe that creates the firewall.
Sometimes there's an easier response when I send out a personal invite to a group and say, please do this. and
Right.
it would be a little more direct.
Just to bounce off of what Sean's saying, I do recall ACG saying kind of a max ceiling of 12 per group. So I think what they want to also avoid is all of a sudden having a deluge of people that they can't quite, because they've found over their experience that they get the best responses from a group between,
Mhm.
I think it was 8 and 12. So that's kind of where
If they feel like
That's
they're
for the
there.
virtual.
Yeah.
That's for the virtual, right? Yeah.
Yeah, if they feel like they're there already, that's fine,
Okay.
but I worry that they have groups with 3 or 4. And when I hear that
Yeah.
there's 4 and 3 of them are city councilors, I'm like, I want to reach out to some people.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, that's all fair.
So
I do believe that the face-to-face groups will be larger.
Okay.
So that's,
maybe that'd be a question then too.
Yep.
If they have an estimate of what they like for live, so we can then come up with a plan to target any gaps.
And can I just ask Counselor Cook, was your concern that 3 counselors were in one group? Because that's what I heard, and
Yeah.
that could be, yeah, okay.
Only 4 in the group and 3 of us were city councilors. And
Right.
I didn't think that the city councilors were one of the focus groups. So it'd be different if there was actually, they were trying to have a
the
focus group of city councilors.
one,
That-
well, it was government leaders. It was,
Okay, that's probably why, because there's
that's
probably
why.
government leaders.
That was the 5th one I couldn't
Right.
think of.
But
Well,
So-
it's good they had 3 then.
they have 2, because I couldn't do it the
Okay.
times that they had. So yeah. I'm all set.
You're all set?
Yeah.
It's been answered in the course of conversation. Great. Thank you, Ellen.
Okay, so the next conversation was a request to or some thoughts about the cultural planning subcommittee not being allowed to participate in focus groups. And is there a way to address that? Karen, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, and I would just say I've received some feedback from some members, and I think it's a valid point. Is there an opportunity for us as a group to have a voice around this, especially where we're not able to participate in the virtual or the live sessions? So one idea that we've been tossing around is, do we do some sort of a focus group with the joint committees? And I think we've got 2 possible options, just in the sake of, in the spirit of budget and time and all that. It probably would be difficult to do that live with ACG, but we could do it virtual with ACG and have all of us in the room together. The other option that Jeffrey and I were talking about just a few minutes ago is do we use one of the Portsmouth Listens facilitators and do it live with both committees? Preferences? Either or, neither?
I always prefer live in person.
Yeah.
I would prefer that between the 2. I mean, it would be great to work with someone from ACG. And if we could only do that virtually, that's definitely an option. But I think that being in the room together always impacts the brainstorming process in a positive way. So that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Can I build on that? Is it possible to have ACG on the screen and all of us live?
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah,
Do a hybrid?
yeah,
Okay, that's my comment.
yeah.
Question, is ACG aware that this subcommittee group wants to be involved in a focus? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so they're able to integrate it into the work that they're already doing. Okay, good. I just want to make sure that if we do it,
Yeah.
it goes away. The
They
result.
were in support of it
Okay,
too.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would work if both committees were in the room and its facilitator was on the screen.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean,
Great.
so timing wise, that Monday is Indigenous Peoples' Day. that week, if I recall. Am I off on my week or
It's
maybe
the
I'm?
prior week.
It's the
Right.
prior week.
The ninth
Okay.
is, yeah.
So we could potentially think about maybe using our next meeting where it's all on our calendars anyway, which I think is October 2nd, if I've got
Correct.
my dates right.
Yep,
So
October 2nd.
throwing that out just as a possibility. So again, open for discussion on timing.
While people are thinking about that,
Yeah.
the sooner we complete the focus groups, the sooner we'll have information, right? So we wouldn't, as an example, one of the conversations we're having was if you wait to do the CPS and the joint committees when ACG is here, then that just lengthens, it pushes them back in terms of providing this group with the analysis from the previous surveys and focus groups. Because they wouldn't want to present that to you all before you went through your session. Therefore, I like the October 2nd date just to keep the timeline intact, if that works.
So we got to see if one of
So
the
I will
Portsmouth
see if-
Citizens facilitators is available.
Basically, it's Robin, because one of them's not available that week, so I will ask the one who is available if
Well-
she would facilitate with us. You were talking about using a Portsmouth Listens.
Yeah.
Or we could do
facilitator for that.
virtual with ACG.
Well, that's what I was responding to.
Yeah.
Th-
That would be.
Just two. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which is the first choice, which is the second choice? I mean, the advantage of ACG is that they're getting it feed directly from us.
Right.
Not through an intermediary.
Right.
The advantage of an in-person facilitator is just because they're in the room. So I guess it's which of those items you prioritize.
Could we get a read from ACG about what their preference, how they feel about this
Mhm.
and whether they've done it before?
Mhm.
That may influence I think the committee about what we decide.
Yeah.
I would prefer to have somebody who's not local running it. I mean, who's and whose job is to be a professional facilitator for these kinds of things.
Okay.
That's my preference. I don't know how other people feel about it, but it's not that I've been a Portsmouth Listens facilitator,
Mhm.
so I know what that entails, but I think it would
Mhm.
be great to have someone who doesn't know the
Yeah.
people in this room.
So I have that read right here. That was one of the options they laid out when we sent this request to them,
Mhm.
was to look at that October 2nd date and have them facilitate virtually. So if
Great.
that's how the group wants to go, I can work with them this afternoon. to get that
I'd be
scheduled.
interested, now I'm thinking, I'd like to see how they do it.
Mhm.
Because, Ellen and I have both facilitated Portsmouth Listens. We're all trained by Jim Nukas and his methods. They have different methods. I'm really interested to see how they handle our group going into, in advance of their doing the other groups.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
That's an
Serving two
opportunity.
purposes.
Okay.
Excellent.
Good,
Well,
good point.
Just a quick
look for
question.
October 2nd.
Would this be an official meeting or like, would it be broadcast or recorded, or is it just more of a focus group? Or do we do official meeting for a half hour and then break into focus group?
So-
Just-
I would propose that we do it as a listening session. That's not a public meeting on October 2nd. And then merge the two groups 2 weeks later on the 16th, which is weird timing because it's the week ACG is here, but we're not going to be in any of those meetings that week ourselves. So we can have a collaborative meeting with the Arts and Nonprofits group on the 16th in this room during that time while they're meeting with the public. That makes the most sense to me.
I was gonna say, we'll have to notice it just because creates a quorum of both of these committees,
Okay.
but we don't have to have Zoom. You don't have to have Zoom. That is not a requirement. So you
I'm
can
sorry,
just
could you say
notice that
We don't have to have what?
you don't have to have Zoom. You don't have to have a public Zoom link. That is not a state or city requirement.
So would technically someone be able to come in from the public and sit and listen?
They would, but we don't have that happen very often.
Mhm.
So
So you're suggesting that we have our focus group on the 16th?
No, on the
No.
second.
no,
On the second?
On the
Then I didn't follow exactly what you said.
Focus group on the 2nd and no meeting. Let's just focus on the focus group.
Mhm.
Because it's going to take all that time for
Yeah.
that anyway.
Yeah.
And then when the Arts and Nonprofits Committee meets on the 16th, the subcommittee joins us and we combine our business so that the business that needs to take place in October takes place on the 16th in a combined meeting. And we don't have to worry about regular business on the 2nd. We just do the focus group on the 2nd.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nicely done.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
That's really it. We know when they're gonna be here on the 16th, the week of the 16th. I will confirm the actual dates and times. And then, yes, just, we already talked about having non-ACG facilitators. We just need to line up what's gonna happen during that week, who the facilitators are, what the sessions are. I'll get the answer on how we can do the outreach to the different groups and get things out an email to you all prior to Thursday at 5 o'clock, so you have it to chew on, because I'm off on Friday.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Sean. And I put on my glasses and realized I need a apology to Counselor Cook, Barbara Massar, and Karen Rosania. Now I see why Sean was taken aback when I said, yeah, Sean, go. I missed your entire thing here, and it's awesome news. So my apologies, point of order, that was my mistake. And interesting, we do have one definite discussion point that Karen, Sean, and I were talking about, but it will dovetail nicely after we hear about our Arts and Culture Commission ordinance presentation to the city recap. So again, apologies, got the glasses on, floor is all yours.
Yeah. Feel free and I'll add in, yeah.
I was lucky to sit at the city council meeting just last week and have a presentation from both the cultural plan subcommittee co-chairs and from the arts and nonprofit co-chairs. And sit and watch the council take all of this in, you know, because it was a lot of information, and I don't think that they always know everything that is happening here. And so I think they were thrilled to hear all the updates. They were happy with the ordinance. We had several very positive comments, and they voted unanimously to adopt it, and went ahead and moved directly to third reading and voted it through. So we're done. The council doesn't have to make any more moves on that. But I have to really thank Barbara and Karen for coming up and presenting to us. It was very, very meaningful to hear kind of the progression of that at the council level. I think it helped provide information to the public too, that isn't aware of everything that's going on. And I appreciate all of you who came to speak as well. For members of the committee as well who came to speak. That was also very helpful. And now we will just be waiting for names to come in for appointments. I was going to talk to the mayor this week and alert him to, you know, the unusual nature clearly of this ordinance, that you've got different members coming in for kind of different positions on the committee because you've got this mixed makeup, and ask him to hold applications before he makes any appointments, to hold them for about a month to see how many we have come in. So that
So
then,
this council can make the appointments now.
yes. So I was going to ask him just to let applications come in for a month or so. And I will make an announcement at the next council meeting that we're accepting applications. People will know that because it's on the website, but I'll make an announcement just so that people are aware, and appreciate it if all of you share that information as well for anybody who's interested. And if any of you are interested, to go ahead and get your applications in as well. And then he will have kind of a full range of everyone applying before.
What's the
he makes his
application
appointment.
process?
The applications online is the same for any committee. It's the same one that you did to get onto this committee. You're just going to write in Arts and Cultural Commission instead. So it's the exact same process all of you did to join a committee before.
You go to the city clerk's page and you apply for an open commission position, seat role.
Is it it's the blue ribbon arts and nonprofits?
No,
Application form?
Well, it's the same form for every single committee in the
Oh,
city.
okay.
Yeah.
So
okay,
you write in which committee it is. So
okay.
you're going to write in Arts and Cultural Commission. I think the difference here is that you're going to write in which role you're applying for as well. So, so nonprofits would write in, I want to be a nonprofit representative, or I want to be a representative of arts. I'm an artist in the community that wants to be representative, or I'm just a patron of the arts. And so I'm a resident who's interested. So you're going to write in kind of where you fit. And that's critical, and that's different because that's not on the general application.
Mhm.
But since there are different roles, that's how you would do that. We do that for other committees, so you all are aware. We have certain seats, for example, on the planning board and on the parking traffic safe for like an engineer. So they're looking specifically for an engineer to apply for those roles. So we have practice in doing that.
Mhm.
It'll just be new for us.
Can you remind us of residency requirements for the different stakeholder roles?
Yes, so the residency requirement for large institutions is that the institution is in Portsmouth.
Yep.
Not that individuals are. And it's an institutional membership. For everyone else, you have to be a Portsmouth resident.
Okay.
So for artists and for other residents, you have to be a Portsmouth resident. So.
Two thoughts, Counselor Cook. Similar to what was done with CPS when we got off the ground, the Cultural Planning Subcommittee, there was an article in the Herald. Should that be something we consider, number one? Number two, what if we have 50 or 100 people applying? How does that get pared down and by whom? Like, what's the process if we have more applicants than positions?
There is not a formal process. The mayor handles all the appointments.
Okay.
So note that has traditionally been the case. And the mayor's responsible for bringing forward nominations to the council, and then the council approves or doesn't approve
Mhm.
of those nominations. But traditionally, the council approves the mayor's appointments unless there's something, a serious problem,
Mhm.
right?
And historically, if there's a large turnout, mayors have the discretion to ask for advice from people in the community, right?
Exactly. So the mayors can ask anyone for
Mhm.
advice.
Yeah.
And the mayor has been in the practice of asking individuals for advice in the past,
Mhm.
because you also want the mayor, it's in the mayor's best interest to have a committee where everyone is going to get along really well. So it's going to be a functioning committee. So the mayor's going to make sure that he's appointing people who will contribute well. And this mayor has been particularly mindful about making sure his appointments work well with the culture of
Mhm.
the city and with our committees. So.
If I can ask why this might have been different. There was a time when there was an opening on a commission, and my husband was one of maybe 6 people who were applying for the one position. And there was a committee they sat in front of, and the committee asked them all questions. Then the committee made a recommendation to the city council. So was that out of the norm?
That is out of the norm, but that can happen. So to be clear, if that's the process the mayor wants.
So that
That's
was
the
the
process.
mayor wanted that process.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So the mayor, if the mayor decides, the mayor has 100 applicants and the mayor's like, what do I do with this? The mayor may decide to go through a secondary process just to kind of screen. But I've never seen that many applicants come in for one committee. I would be thrilled if there were that many people who were volunteering to serve on city.
Careful what you wish.
If I may interject, actually, we did have a lot of people apply for the CPS. And Russ and I worked with the mayor because Russ, I'm thinking there were close to 30.
Probably there were, probably 3 times as many people as we were able to bring into the group.
Accommodate. So what the mayor asked us to help him because there were so many people. And to your point, Councillor Cook, that's what happened. He was looking for some information and guidance on who did what and who would work potentially well together. So Russ and I have been through this with this mayor. So that's good. And then the second thing I wanted to mention is, would it be helpful if we created kind of a mini job description so that when we're all putting it out to our networks, that we're all saying the same thing.
Good point, Barbara.
Does the ordinance serve as a job description, or is there more detail that we need?
Well, it's a little legalese, so, you know, I think if we extracted some of the intent, but put it in layman's terms, so people weren't kind of turned off by us saying, read the ordinance.
Yep.
I'm just thinking that, that might be helpful.
Karen has a question.
Good.
Yes, hi, in anticipation of the passage of the ordinance, I put together an FAQ sheet about the ordinance and pulled out certain points that work group 2 had also outlined. And I'm wondering if that would be helpful to put on our webpage until the commission actually has its own webpage. We could put that, the ordinance, and an updated FAQ sheet about our process and how we were involved with creating this ordinance. And then we could also, I think, explain the application process and put a link on our webpage, again, until the commission has their own webpage. So in other words, use the CPS webpage with a tab for the ordinance and the new commission, and lay out all these different bits of information, including the job description. It's just a thought. I haven't spoken with Stephanie or Monty or anybody about that. I'm just throwing it out there.
So
So Karen, is that something you could share with the group so we know what it is before we post anything publicly?
Absolutely. I shared it well prior to the passage of the ordinance. So I jumped the gun a little bit. So I'll go back and look at it, and I'll send it to Sean and Stephanie, and then they can send it out to the larger group. And I'm sure Stephanie will, have thoughts about how to write it. But I just threw it out there real early on, thinking that it could be very helpful for our group to, when we're talking to people in focus groups and we're talking to people at large, to have just some notes on what this commission is actually going to do and what we're looking for in terms of applicants.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. And it speaks to the larger issue that we're all going to have going forward, which is this is going to become an official commission of the city. So consistency and transparency is going to be tantamount. I know we've been pretty good with it, but moving in the, I hate to say moving forward, but you know what I mean. As we move towards formation of this commission, everything has got to go through this before it goes back out, so that we're all talking about the same thing. We all know what's happening, so that we're all aware of it and not caught off guard. And I'm not suggesting that anybody did anything untoward at this point, but it strikes me that now there's a real ordinance out there, that comes with more responsibility.
And if I might, just on that direct point, the city clerk sets up the pages for official boards, committees, commissions. So, and as Robin noted, the Arts Commission is not yet on the city clerk's page. So I'll talk to Kelly about that and just get that rolling, and then we can dovetail what's on that page. And there's a format for those pages that Monty's created. So I'll make sure that, the information that we have on our committee page, our subcommittee page, it aligns.
Mhm.
So just so you know what the process is.
So, and my reaction is this is a new Arts and Culture Commission created through a new ordinance. And there's this whole body of work that this combined groups have been working on. I wouldn't be so quick to put them together. I would focus on, the deliverable here, right? And then you all in your current capacities will sunset,
Mhm.
and then you may be on a new arts and culture commission if you choose to apply. But I think blending them would be a concern of mine because it's very clear what these you all today are charged with. And then we have this new thing that's going to form. And I'm sure there'll be lots of conversation about what it's going to do. Okay, so that's just my reaction as your staff liaison.
Well, isn't our final report actually going to be the guiding document for the commission?
Not necessarily.
I think the Arts and Culture Commission, well, is I think there could be more.
I think the cultural plan that comes out of the subgroup is going to be the guiding document for them at first. So there's kind of more to the arts and nonprofit group that's going to be sunsetting. But I think the whole purpose of going through the cultural planning process is to provide the initial, if you want to call it, strategic plan for the new cultural commission. And they'll have to take it and run with it.
Yeah, what Russ said, and also I've been following, and Councillor Cook can speak to it, the Public Art Commission, and what's been really interesting to watch and learn from them is they've been using their initial meetings to decide how they're going to run their meetings and what they're going to do, and so a lot of this initial work this commission is going to be tasked with is deciding for itself what it's going to look like and how it's going to run and when it's going to meet. I mean, all the, you know, I'm a geek, so I thrive on that kind of detail, but that's the stuff that's going to set the tone for them. And to Russ's point, we're going to hand them something and say, here, this is the work we've been doing since 2021. And here, and they're going to go, thanks. We're either going to take all of it or some of it. We've already got the cultural plan. So we're going to basically be sending a child off into the world is what's going to happen. And we're not going to have any say after December 31st.
I think that what Barbara said is really important. My goal is to have those appointments made so that the Arts and Cultural Commission can meet in December for a first meeting and do some of that housekeeping work in preparation for being given the final reports from this committee and arts and nonprofits and the cultural plan. So they can make decisions about who's going to take notes in their meetings and all those things that you have to do at the very beginning, who's going to chair. So that they can really get started January 1.
Excellent.
I have a couple questions and one ties right into that, Councillor Cook. So what would be the deadline for applications? So you said to keep it open for another month. Are we looking at October 11th or are we looking at? So I think
I have to talk to the mayor, and it's all about the mayor. The mayor can make this decision call. I'm going to ask him to hold appointments for a month. So don't make any appointments like next week that came in this week, and don't make, just hold it to see how many you have come in first.
Yeah.
Just as it's kind of a caution to him that, you might have a lot more come in than you think, and you might have some come in a little bit later who are really qualified who you want.
Yeah.
And Karen, that's why I'm saying there's a line. This is not this group's responsibility to set up the Arts and Culture Commission.
Right. But I think we should have some sort of a date out there.
It's not our control.
Yeah.
I think it's more the reverse, Karen. I think it's don't rush through the process. And I think that we've just experienced 3 years where we've had some groups like this one put together where we've felt like we're in a race and we need to get it done as quickly as possible. And I think I think Councillor Cook is right. This is an opportunity to allow the process to play out over a slightly longer period of time than we've had the luxury of over the past few years, so that we can get a full pool to give the mayor an opportunity to balance a committee once you've seen everyone who's applied. So I think that the idea is not to have the deadline be too close to right now, not necessarily 1 month from right now, but at least a month from right now, but still close off in enough time for this council to be able to fill out the entire process and have us in place, or have the new group in place for January 1st.
Okay. Thanks, Russ.
Okay.
Yeah. Just relative to this group or CPS, can I just clarify, are there any other expectations or needs that need to come out of this, as we're approaching our sunsetting, that you need from us other than the cultural plan itself? Is there anything else? I know you have another report that you have to pull together, you and Barbara, with the arts and nonprofits. But I just thought, let's clarify this now, so we're not rushing at the end to produce something as needed. So just the cultural plan, and we'll be in good shape. Okay. And then
And we're going to also report on where AFTA is when we meet the council in December. So we'll be able to share some information, correct, Robin, with maybe not the super secret final numbers, but when the visit's going to happen in January, and invite the council to be involved in that. So those are the things that I was thinking about for this report.
But that's not CPS work.
right.
That's arts and nonprofit.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, and just lastly, to close out Barbara's suggestion about some sort of a layman's term job description, is that something that somebody wants to take a crack at? I'm sure there's stuff online, again, learning from other municipalities. So I just didn't want that thought to get lost as we move forward in the agenda. So anybody wanna? We're looking at maybe a couple sentences, keeping it short and sweet. Does anybody want to take a crack at that?
My understanding from previous conversation was that Karen's frequently asked questions going to be circulated, and then we'll get feedback on that from external to us because it's no longer ours, but a little hint that it's good or not, or is that something? I'm now looking at that dividing line.
Yeah, no,
that you painted
I
very
don't know
clearly,
who's in.
and now I'm not sure if we even need to send that out. But the previous conversation I had in my head that Karen Battles was going to recirculate the FAQ to see if it would be a good starting point to answer that question. However, now you did bring up this point of this dividing line. Is that something we need to care about? I obviously know why we should, logically speaking, but legally speaking, do we?
Yeah.
How about if I talk to Stephanie offline about what next steps are, and Stephanie and Sean?
Let us figure it. Yeah. This is new.
Line
So
is-
I will take my lead from city council and legal and governance and all the other folks who make these decisions, and find out what we should be communicating out to the public.
So just so that you know, when you go to the website now, when you look up, what boards and commissions are, each one has a very, very short mission statement. That's about it. It's a very short mission statement, and then the same application. But just a warning, just be careful when we're talking to not use the word job in a description. Job indicates pay. It's a service description because we're volunteers. So I don't think the commission's paid, right? So don't use the word job description.
Yeah.
It's a volunteer description, but that's what's on the website now.
Yeah.
Read the mission statements.
And I'll just say for this group, because there's been a lot of conversation for this combined group. This is not recreating Art Speak. This is not a city department. This is a city council created commission. Right? And I wasn't even around when Art Speak was around, but I picked up enough on it. It's not a city department. Right, Counselor?
That's right.
Okay.
I think that's important. I mean,
Well, we need definitions then. Definition of department, definition of commission.
the definition is, well, it's on the city website. In fact, my other committees worked really hard to start delineating what is what within the city government, because I think it's confusing to people what our committee structure is, and so, basically it's a commission like the EDC is commission, like any of the committees.
Yeah.
All of our committees are technically, they're the same. They all fall under elected boards, commissions, and then we have committees, and they're all governed by ordinance, by the administrative ordinance in the city of Portsmouth. So, and so you have your own ordinance, and then you have the general language in the administrative ordinance, which is mostly around like electing your chair every January. It's very basic language. So, so that's, you would function in the same way.
Yeah.
Another committee is going to function, but by your ordinance. Your ordinance governs everything you do.
I think the major difference was that ArtSpeak had a paid director.
Yeah.
And so what we're saying here is that this is a community-run process with assistance from the city staff, but not that it is run by somebody who's paid and has its own and had its own board to run things.
Yeah, I'd also say that ArtSpeak was a 501c3 nonprofit, which made it very different than any committee or commission that the city has. And I think rather than worrying about what ArtSpeak was, because there was a lot of gray area and vagueness and and a lack of clarity in what ArtSpeak was, even from the very beginning. I think the good news, and one of the reasons why I really wanted to support this new commission, is there is a lot of clarity on what this new commission is. And we just, Sean's right. Don't think of this as ArtSpeak. Think of this as a new city commission and in the lines of what the EDC and the other groups are. And it's starting fresh.
Everybody, I posted under chat, the Portsmouth Arts and Nonprofit Committee page, so you might want to all get familiar with that. That's what the committee that Russ and I are co-chairing currently. And then the second one I posted is more general city clerk information about what a committee and a commission is. And that language might help you all understand that this is going to look like every other committee or commission.
Can you send me those links by email so I can put them in the minutes?
They're in chat right now. They're on the city's website site under committees and commissions.
Excellent. Any more discussion? I'd like to just summarize quickly. I'd like to highlight that it was a major win. Thank you to both committees. Thank you to all the work groups involved. Thank you to Councilor Cook. Thank you for our speakers last Monday. The one thing we can take away definitively is that we've developed something. We have output. We have something that will hopefully become very positive. Unfortunately, that will be out of our hands and we will watch it either internally or externally. But well done to everybody that was involved. I think that's a fabulous win. And we're now about a third of the way through our ACG effort, which is also our charter, and we're doing very good at that. So thank you for all involved. Other discussion. We're down to our other business additions to agenda.
I just want to say, Alan, can I just add, I walked out with Ellen and I told her how emotional I was because this was a really big deal. You know, sometimes when you do stuff, it's what you do. And so you don't necessarily reflect and understand, but I know a number of us in this group have been around for a long time and have seen a lot of different things happen. And so the fact that this ordinance exists to allow a commission to come forward is really, really big news. And I can't thank Councilor Cook enough for your guidance and your leadership because this has been an idea floated for years and you helped us make it happen. And so thank you. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you all. It's all your input. So it's a great team effort. And it is on front page of the Portsmouth Herald, in case everybody hasn't had a chance to see it, and of course Seacoast Online. So that was terrific to see as well.
Excellent. Well done. Well done. Other items. Lingering questions. Niceties. Anybody?
Smart remarks. I used to work with someone. Any smart remarks?
All right then. Wow. That is an incredible first.
I would just remind everyone then that the next meeting will actually be on the 16th, the first day that ACG is in town at noon in here, and that we'll work to put that listening session on the second when our meeting was originally scheduled.
Right. So I'll work on that.
Yeah.
And we'll want to cancel officially the October 2nd meeting to the public. Because
It'll be notified to the public in a different way. And I think Councilor Cook working with the co-chairs and Stephanie can figure that out for us. Yeah.
okay.
So we just need confirmation that ACG can have the facilitator on the screen.
Yep.
on the Second.
Yep. I will confirm that today.
Great.
Excellent. Do I have a motion to
Moved.
adjourn? So moved. In
Second.
favor, second, in favor. There we are. Excellent. Well done, everybody. Be proud of yourselves.
Yeah, I think so.
1 minute.
Sean, before you close this.
Yep.
Karen, Russ, Alan and I need to talk for just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, you want to stop recording?
Yeah.
Do I want to stop recording? Yes, I do.
Or the meeting's over.
Oh.
He's gonna stop recording though, so we can talk.